Hello students, I am Raman Gupta from Government College Bara. In continuity with the last video, I am going to complete this poem, Elegy written in a country churchyard, in this video. So let's begin. The next stanza. Perhaps in this neglected sport is laid some heart once pregnant with celestial fire, hands that the road of empire might have swayed, or wake to ecstasy the living lyre. Students, these lines are very important and sometimes these lines are asked in exam for explanation. So read it well. The poet in these lines says that those persons who have engraved outside the churchyard were talented. They were talented also. Among them, someone could rule over the country. Some of them had power to rule the country, while other is suitable to become musician and sing a lyre, but they could not do so because of lack of opportunities. The society, which is ruled by rich persons, had not provided any opportunity to these poor people in which they could display their talent. So the poet says that these persons had ability to do these works, these tasks of ruling the empire and showing their talents, but they were not given the opportunities. But knowledge to their eyes her ample page, rich with the spoils of time, did never unroll. Chill penury repressed their noble rage and froze the genial current of the soul. These lines tell us the same idea as the above stanza has told, that these poor men are capable to do any work, but they live with utmost poverty. They are not rich, which is a great obstacle in their path to perform some great work and to get name and fame. It freezes their talent of mind. They were not given opportunities because of their poverty. They lived their life by working hard and earning less. So their talent was repressed by their adverse circumstances. Full many a gem of purest ray serene, the dark unfathomed caves of ocean bear. Full many a flowers born to blush unseen, and waste its sweetness on the desert air. These lines, in these lines, the poet compares these countrymen, these poor rustic people, to gems, which is extremely beautiful and bright, but lie in the dark and unfathomable depths of seas and oceans. Gems are generally found in the depths of seas and oceans, where nobody can find them. They are hidden in the depth of water. The same happens with these men because they live in dark poverty where they find no opportunity to prove their intelligence. He also says that in the desert areas there are many flowers which bloom, but nobody can see their beauty because the places where they bloom are manless. The same thing with these persons, that they showed their talent where it was no value of that. So it was wasted. Some village Hampden that with dauntless breast the little tyrant of his fields withstood. Some mute inglorious Milton here may rest, some Cromwell guiltless of his country's blood. In this stanza, the poet tells that in those humble people, someone might be brave like John Hampden, who refused to pay the ship money to the King Charles I. Someone might be poet like Milton, and other one among may, among them might have the power like Oliver Cromwell, the great warrior and patriot who fought against enemies in the British Civil War. So, these poor people, these rustic country people, have been compared with the great personalities of uh, kingdom and poetry and politics also. The applause of listening senates to command, the threats of pain and ruin to despise, to scatter plenty over a smiling land, and read their history in a nation's eyes. Because of their adverse conditions, they could not perform any great deed. But if they would have opportunities, if they were given opportunities, they would address the parliament with their speech, and their kind works and pleasures would be seen in the eyes of people who would show that government had succeeded to govern them with pleasurous rule. Their lot forbade not nor circumscribed alone their growing virtues, but their crimes confined, forbade to wade through slaughter or to a throne, and shut the gates of mercy on mankind. Here, in these lines, the poet describes that whether they are the persons of countryside had not a good fate, but their fate not only repressed their virtues, but also their thoughts to perform crimes. It means their destiny kept them away from all kinds of worst and criminal matters. They lived peacefully and did not try to get opportunity by endless slaughtering as emperors do. They made no any flattery of others to get opportunity. If they would do so, they could get name and fame like Milton, Shakespeare. The struggling the struggling pangs of conscious truth to hide, to quench the blushes of ingenious shame, or heap the shrine of luxury and pride with incense kindled at the muse flame. Far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife, their sober wishes never learned to stray. Along the cool, sequestered vale of life, they kept the noiseless tenor of the way. Then the other idea taken by poet to tell the sorrows of departed souls, that their graves are not in good condition and their inscriptions are shapeless and simple. On their tombs some words of holy text Bible are written. On the other side, rich persons' graves have a voice of praise in the form of poetry, but can these things revive their breaths? Yet even these bones from insult to protect, some frail memorial will erect high, with uncouched rhymes and shapeless sculpture decked, implores the passing tribute of a sigh. These poor people, when they die, some simple graves with an epitaph is mm, established, placed on their graves. It is very simple in language and in shape, and it seeks a tribute of a sigh from a passerby, that a person who passes through that place should read that epitaph and have a sigh of their names, their eyes spelt by the unlettered muse, the place of fame and elegy supply. In many holy texts around the she strews that teach the rustic moralist to die. For who to dumb for forgetfulness a prey, this pleasing anxious being ever resigned, left the warm precincts of the cheerful day, nor cast any longing, lingering look behind. So the poet says that these persons' graves have a voice of praise. They are so beautifully made, and epitaph is written on them in the form of poetry. And but the poet asks the readers, can these things revive the breaths of the dead people who have died? On some fond breast the parting soul relies, some pious drops the closing eye requires. Even from the tomb, the voice of nature cries. Even in our ashes live their wanted fires. The poet says that everybody wants to be remembered after death. So the graves of these people request to some traveler who passes from that church to have pity and pious drops in her eyes to show a tribute to them. Happily, some hoary headed swain may say, oft have we seen him at the peep of dawn, brushing with hasty steps the dews away to meet the sun upon the upland lawn. The poet imagines that one day he will die, he will not be there, and some person who will go upward towards hill will realize that there was a man who used to watch the natural objects in the company of nature was nowhere. There at the foot of yonder nodding beech that wreathes its old fantastic roots so high, is listless in length at noontide would be stretch and pour upon the brook that babbles by. Hard by yon wood, now smiling as in scorn, muttering his wayward fancies, he would rove. No, now dropping woeful van, like one forlorn, or crazed with care, or crossed in hopeless love. One morn I missed him on the customed hill, along the heath, and near his favourite tree. Another came, nor yet beside the rill, nor up the lawn, nor at the wood was he. In the last idea, the poet thinks about the time of his own death. He says when he will die, it is observed by a white haired shepherd or countryman that a man who often went upon the mountain with early steps, cleaning the dewy road to watch and meet the rising sun. He will find him, but will never seen in the field, riverside, and so on. The next with dirges due in sad array, slow through the church way, path we saw him borne. Approach and read the lay graved on the stone beneath you, an aged thorn. At that time, he will listen the morning songs of death that will aware him that the poet is no more here in this world. He will watch his coffin in churchyard and will say his companion countrymen to read the lines which is written on the grave of the poet. Here, the epitaph. The epitaph is a simple description which is generally written on the graves of these neglected people who have been neglected throughout their lives. Here rests his head upon the lap of earth, a youth to fortune and to fame unknown. Fair signs frowned not on his humble birth, and melancholy marked him for her own. Large was his bounty, and his soul sincere. Heaven and did a recompense as largely send. He gave to misery all he had, a tear he gained from heaven. It was all he wished, a friend. No farther seek his merits to disclose, or draw his frailties from their dread abode. There they alike in trembling hope repass the bosom of his father and his God. So the poet says that he will listen the morning songs of death that will aware the poet that he is no more here in this world. He will watch his coffin himself in that graveyard and will say his companion countrymen to read the lines which is written on the grave of the poet. So this is the poem, very important poem, students. Read it well, prepare it well. If you find any problem, you can ask me. And now I'm going to stop this video because it is getting larger and will create some problem in uploading on YouTube. So that's all. Thank you and have a nice day.